As a lot of you know, because I saw you there today, didn't start off wonderful. We laid to rest today one of our icons, one of our Hall of Famers, Bruce Miller, to start our day off. But I appreciate everyone coming out today. Let me just say at the top that there's really three things that we say to every student athlete that comes to Tulane. I say this to them directly. I say it to their families, is that our aspirations for them is to excel in three things. And number one is in their classroom endeavors. It's important with the investment that's made here and with the dreams and aspirations that they come, that we help them succeed in that towards achieving a meaningful degree. Second is to excel in their competitive endeavors. As you all know, every student athlete that comes to this level has spent a lifetime working towards these opportunities, and we take that very serious in that commitment. And the third piece, it's a little bit unique at Tulane, but I think it's appropriate, is the excelling at our community service and activities. One of the things we learned firsthand is it's not just enough to pull yourself up by the boots, but we have to help those around us, and Tulane student athletes and our student body do that better than any. So that being said, we know in the last week or so there's been some changes undergone in our men's basketball program, and we wanted to start today with the opportunity to give some context and explanation to that. You know, in college basketball today, there's certainly a lot of unique factors, unique to men's basketball specifically. Some of the things that have occurred, and Coach Conroy will speak in more detail, are things that we expected. Some of the young men obviously are on track to graduate and will in the next 2 months. Some of the changes, frankly, weren't expected, and he'll go into detail about that. We're disappointed in some of those decisions, and as we know that our fan base is. But this presents a challenge for us, but one that we're confident that we are positioned to deal with. When I first heard of this over the weekend from Coach Conroy and began those discussions, and then Monday night when I first met with the young men that were requesting releases, we told them the process, and then it was out of town on business for the next couple of days, but upon returning, spent a lot of time speaking with both the transferring student athletes as well as our returning core of student athletes and those associated with our program, and got a good picture of where we were, and to put a finger on things and get a good sense of why these changes were occurring. And through discussions with Coach Conroy through that time, have come to the conclusion, and a lot of that's based on the young men you see here with you today, is the very firm, solid commitment that I've heard directly from each of them. I met with all of them yesterday as a group, just they and myself, and really affirmed all the things that I believed were occurring. As many of you know, we came off of a season where we felt like we made great strides and put this program in position to continue to grow and prosper and continue to succeed. And those expectations haven't changed. Regardless of undergoing these changes, those expectations have not changed. A lot of that, I say to you, is based on the fact that the 7 young men here today, the 3 committed student athletes that we have that have assured their firm commitments going forward, and I know there'll be in the upcoming days and weeks more added to that. So that being said, I'll stop there for a minute and let Coach Conroy give you more specific details in regards to those changes.
First, I appreciate everybody being here and the interest that is in our program. And before I will address, specifically the changes in our program, I for a brief second wanted to go through, it was a season of accomplishment. Certainly, we think there's even brighter days ahead, but was very proud of what this team, this 2013 team, accomplished in a 20-win season and a postseason berth and 4 1,000-point scores, 4th most points in school history. It brought a lot of attention to us, and I think and appreciate I think an emotional attachment from our fans. They enjoyed watching this team compete, and I start with that because and mention that first because I don't want anything that's happened in these last few days to diminish. And I've told the young men here that the accomplishments of that team and the togetherness of that team. And I don't I don't think there should be any negative light shed on that team and the journey it went on, because I think they really put us in a position of strength going forward. And now there's a new team that will be assembled and go on their journey in this next season. Having said that, obviously there have been some changes, and as Rick said, some unexpected, some expected. I'll take you through them, individually, and maybe shed some light for all of you, and start with Josh Davis. And I'll start by saying I'm really, really proud of Josh Davis and where he's at right now. Going through the process with him, how mature he's been about it. It's been an absolute joy every day for me to go through the process with him. When he came 3 years ago, and we were recruiting him, and told me what he was looking for, I told him that I thought we could create an environment for success where he would go on and realize his dreams of being a professional athlete, and also get one of the most valuable degrees in the world. And in order to do that, he had to improve his skills and his production on the court. We had long discussions during that recruiting time, and I remember him telling me, because of where he was, credit hours and things, Coach, we're going to have a decision to make before my last year of eligibility. And I said, Josh, I hope we do, because that means we fulfilled our end of the bargain, and you have too. And here we are, 3 years later, 1 transfer year and 2 years of basketball, and Josh has a lot of options, probably as many options as any young man in the country. He's exploring all different ones. Included among those is a return to Tulane, professional opportunities here in the States, professional opportunities overseas, and I'm helping him through that process and looking at all of those different factors. But Josh, I think everything that we talked to him about Tulane and everything that we said could happen here for him could not be happier for him. And before this last season started, he came in my office one more time and he said, Coach, he said, I don't expect to be back next year. And I told him, I said, Josh, because my focus was always the NBA for him or professional opportunities overseas. I said, Josh, that means we've had one heck of a season and we've made progress, and that means you've had a successful season. So, in Josh's case, it's been an ongoing discussion for 3 years, and, hopefully, and I think with the class we have coming in, I think we're going to have more, and some of these young men here with their development, we're going to have some of those discussions in the future for guys, and I think that's a great thing that they have multiple opportunities. Ricky Tarrant, disappointed, unexpected. I wouldn't say shocked because of the culture of college basketball, but certainly unexpected and disappointed in the fact that the same conversations take place. Ricky, this is a place that when a lot of other people might not think you're at that level, that can really help you achieve your dreams on and off the court. That, again, that environment's for success we're going to create. And I don't think there's any question that Ricky came in here. He never gave me there was never one day I went to practice and didn't enjoy coaching Ricky Tarrant or Josh Davis or any of these guys. And he worked at it extremely hard, and he was extremely productive. The disappointment comes in that, quite frankly, when I drove to Birmingham last week and explained the options to him as I saw him and as someone that I hope he trusts, you're halfway to one of the most valuable degrees in the world, and you're halfway to becoming probably the school's all-time leading scorer, and halfway to you've won 35 games. And I used to kid him all the time, that's a point guard's only job. That's the only way you're measured is by the wins that you put up, and he's won 35 games in 2 years. And what would happen the next 2 years, with him at the point guard was going to be something I really looked forward to working with him on. And so there's where the disappointment is, and I'm sure our fans enjoyed watching him play. But again, I love Ricky Tarrant, and I'll support him. And he was in my office yesterday. We had a great conversation, and obviously, he's chosen to go a different way. Josh Davis, by the way, also, one of those options is returning to Tulane as the next young man. Josh will have his degree, and he can come back, or he can be a fifth-year player. Ben Cherry, Ben is a non-scholarship player for us. Ben is a guy that didn't have many options when he came out of high school. We decided to give him an option on our team at the Citadel. When we left, he wasn't welcomed, there, and he asked for an opportunity here. And 3 years battling through injuries, we pride ourselves. 3 years ago, I remember being right out there, and I told you this was going to be a development program, a program about developing players. I think the first two guys I mentioned, I think, no question, we've all upheld our end of the bargain, players and coaches. And Ben Cherry, maybe there's no one that's come further. And he got to the point where he was a 50% three-point shooter in league games and a productive player. He's going to go serve our country in the military. He was able to get a year deferment on meeting that obligation. I'm working hard on it right now. If I can help Ben Cherry go to school close to home in front of his parents before he goes to serve our country and potentially be a starter on a team in the Carolinas where, in my heart, one of those schools should have recruited him the first time. And he was with us for 4 years, and if we can help him achieve that dream, nothing would make me happier. There's 3 other young men, one which we've already done a release on, Latana Wobo, a guy that I think could have produced for us down the road on the interior, and 2 other young men that are in the process of various stages of getting released, Mark Norelia and Ray Sanders. And not to diminish their accomplishments or where they're headed, but I think playing time is a major factor there. They're all welcome to return. But I think it's a sign of our program. It's a sign of the growth of our program. It's a sign of those guys that are standing in here right now and the development of them. And I think when the Dries and the Max and the Dabneys, and I don't want to miss, and the Hooks and Brujas and, some of those guys, when they're out from underneath the wings of the Timmons and Callahans who've been really productive players for us, I think it's going to be their time to shine. And not everybody can play. And so that's just a reality of college basketball. Which leads us to 2014. And I could not be more excited. But these guys know how I feel about next season already, between them and what they've been through and the progress we've made as a program, and then the 3 signees that we have in the fall. We're on our way to by far our best signing class, and I'm anxious to see how we complete it. But staff's been working awfully hard, and I think the prospects are really bright for how we finish this recruiting class to add to these guys and their toughness. And so next year could be, my standards, my expectations for our program, where we're going, I expect us to continue making progress upward, and I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't do that next year. So I'm excited about that. And I guess I would close with before we have questions, just on that piece of it. Where we are as a program compared to where we were 3 years ago, when we were battling to keep anybody on the roster. There was no Hurt Center. The Devlin Fieldhouse had not been renovated. We hadn't proven that we were going to go from 13 to 15 to 20 wins. These guys hadn't been through winning. They hadn't been through postseason. And probably most importantly, they hadn't been through close losses. And nothing wears you out, strengthens your fiber, prepares you to win in the future than when you're right there. And that is going to be a tough group right there. And I can't wait to watch them play and compete. Can't wait to watch them lead these signees that are coming in, because we have that base and that foundation now. And so our program will continue to be one of development. And because of that, quite honestly, we'll probably be sitting here discussing the Josh Davis type scenarios. I hope we do that many times, because I hope people see how valuable this Tulane education and being a part of this institution, this program is, and they come here and continue to work as hard as the young man that I just talked about did.
If you have
So.
questions, please raise your hands. Coach, now, just want to get this straight. Now, is it 6 players now instead of 4?
Yes, it'll be well. There's 4 that have finished the process of release. 3 scholarship, 1 non-scholarship, and then 2 others are in the process of getting. So it would be 6 total.
And can you give us a little more insight into what happened with the and why he did not want to return?
I don't know. What I talked to Ricky about, and I think there's I felt like I had a very good relationship with Ricky, and we talked a lot, as I would any point guard. But he's obviously a young man that I care a lot about. And when I sat down with him and his family on this last one, we stressed the positive. They were very positive in that meeting at their home, just like they were excited, when we recruited them. And I feel very confident that Ricky's success on the court was a byproduct of just of how he was supported while he was here and those type of things. And I think I'm not sure what he's looking for now, but I know that there's an awfully good situation here that he helped create. Well, his parents and him kept saying closer to home. When I met with them. It was last week. I went and visited him, I believe, on Friday. It was earlier in the week when that happened. I was on the road recruiting. It was one of the, if you could change the calendar, one of the things I would have, and I think it added to some of the timing of this, which made it, a little bit maybe of a shock factor for people, was we lost our last game up at Bradley. We take the charter flight back. We land at the airport at 1 a.m, and the guys are on spring break. So all of a sudden now that they're scattered all over, and we didn't have our normal process of postseason meetings, talk to everybody. That didn't happen until they returned. Classes started here Tuesday, so they're coming back into town, and they've been at home for a week. So it wasn't the normal process of going through that. And so when they came back, I knew of certain things. I had met with Ben earlier in the week, because Ben had stayed here for a couple of days. I was already with Josh Davis and had several meetings with him and his people, his mom and his people. And so we had another one of those meetings on Monday. So those all happened, and then Latana was coming back in town. That's how it ended up being 4 in one day. But it wasn't a panic situation. It was more a matter of the calendar.
And do you think there was illegal contact with Ricky by any other school? And in any way, do you think you were a hard coach to play for?
Well, the first question, I think we all know that there's a lot of things that go on in college basketball that aren't the way that we do things here at Tulane. But I think that's I haven't delved into that and tried to figure that out. Am I a hard coach to play for? I would say that just like Tulane, we have high academic standards, but everything is done in a first-class and professional manner. I would say the same thing on the basketball court. I hope we reflect the university, where we have high standards. We want to go high places, but everything is done in a very professional and in a caring manner. And one of the things I'm most proud of is that I work for an athletic department at a university, and Dr. Cowan and Rick Dickson, that student athletes always put first, and I would like to think we're that way as well. Yeah, I say shocked because of the culture of college basketball. I'm not shocked. We'll all see the number of transfers and the number of guys that change schools every day. If you go on, and look around the country, that is the trend. So, not shocked. Unexpected here, because I really felt like the environment we had here and the success he had, and where he was headed for, again, in terms of his degree, the friends he had here. The close ties, the success he had helped our program earn, and the upward trend we're on, that he would, be only excited about what even more we could do in the future. So that's where it was disappointing and unexpected, but not shocking in the world of college basketball. And along those lines, not just Ricky, but every one of our guys. There's so many voices out there now. I hear different rumors on all of our guys all the time, about, who's recruiting them, who's trying to get them out from underneath you. And again, I think our program, as we enjoy more and more success, and the way we do it and the way we develop players, I think more and more people are going to want to have our guys, whether it's our staff members, our players, all of them, they're going to have more opportunities, and there's more people that are going to want to be a part of their program. I would look back at those guys back there, and I will tell them this: on October 15th, I'm gonna remind them of that question right there, Trey, right, and Lou, and Kajon. I'm gonna remind you that. I'm not badgering you about the question. It's a legitimate question, but I don't think there's any question about that. And I go back to what we've been through, and we have players now that know winning. They know tough losses. They know close wins. The facilities have been in place. We have our best recruiting class coming in. And I don't want to miss somebody and say, but when Lou Dabney is healthy and out from the wings of Kendall Timmons and Jordan Callahan, you kidding me? I mean, Kajon Mack with already, who just turned 18, and already how he's developed. He should still be a senior in high school, and how he's already developed. What's going to happen with him this summer and going forward? Trey Dry and the toughness. I've played him out of position his whole career. I could go on and on, fellas, and I don't want to miss somebody. But Jay Hook, I'm looking at him right there. I mean, if Ben Cherry is not back here next year, and Jay Hook knows that's his role, where he'll go. Tomas Bruja healthy. He's got a chance at his best summer ever. Kevin Thomas back there. I mean, and then the recruits coming in. There is absolutely no question in my mind. We're as strong as we've been, and we're going to be stronger.